On this episode of the Everett Show, my guest returning back, the amazing Amazon, Natasha Crane, joins me, and it happens right now.
The Everett Show podcast, a shot of entertainment.
The amazing Amazon, Natasha Crane.
Hello. Good to be back.
It's been a while. It has. It's been almost about a year now, I think. It's been about a year.
Yeah.
Since I last talked to you.
And what a year it's been.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd have to say it's been a year for both of us. I mean, I talk to you here and there and see posts and stuff on social media, and you've been busy. You have been busy this whole last year. From about this time last year I talked to you up until now, just a few minutes ago before we hit the record button. But how's things been? How you been?
I've been all right. I'm not gonna lie. The past year has been really good to me. I was the SCW Women's Champion from January until December. So like all of last year, I was, like you said, I was very busy. I was just very focused on kind of like my title run and just things going on in general.
Amazing. I just want to say congratulations on that. When I heard you won the title, I was like, yeah, about time.
Right.
About time, man. Because you put in some work. I mean, I've mentioned this as many times. You've been on here talking with me, just shooting the shit. You're a great worker. You're a great worker. Your in-ring presence, it's great. I like the power I see, and I've watched a match of yours just like recently. I started seeing them load up new matches because I was like, I want to see some new stuff, because I've already looked through pretty much almost everything I could find on you on YouTube, and then I started seeing some new stuff, and I watched the latest match here from SCW, Polar Plunge, where you were in the ring with Nikki Nix.
Yeah, good old Nikki. Yeah, we always have fun together.
The match was entertaining, man. It was great. I mean, great reaction for her coming out to the ring. Great reaction for you coming out to the ring. And then right there, I mean, both, the crowd was with both of you. And then as the match started to progress with some lockups, some takedowns, then the crowd just basically started going in towards her favor. And, and it's like, you're like a natural heel, when you're in there.
I can be. I mean, if the mood strikes me, if I'm in the right mood.
Yeah. Do you always listen to the crowd when you're in the match, and when they start going in your favor, and then when they start going against you, do you change things up a bit? Do you tell who you're working with in the ring, we're like, yeah, we're gonna flip this here,
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, you should always listen to the crowd, because if they're dead, that means they're checking their phone, or they're going to go outside for a cigarette or a bathroom break. So it's always good to listen to the crowd. But I mean, the crowds at Steam Hollow are always great. I mean, I love them. I love working there. They're one of my favorite crowds. It's a bar crowd, and the owners there are really cool, and the atmosphere is just wonderful. And oh God, we've been there a couple of years now. Mm-hmm. And I every time we're like, hey, we've got, instead of 4 shows like we did last year, we're doing like 6. So it's like every other month. So we're going to do like every other month at the bar. So, but yeah, I love that crowd there. They're amazing. They're great.
I love the energy from the crowd. Good crowd, man. Yeah. Good size crowd, and a good venue there. And the way they position the ring in that building there, and just the crowd, man, they were getting into it. I love a crowd that gets into and hangs on everything that goes on in the ring. I love that. Those are the best crowds to have.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, because like I said, if you don't, if your crowd's not into it, then you need to change something up, and and all of our crowds have always been very vocal, and they'll tell you what they like and what they don't like. And generally, it seems like we've had from what I've noticed for over the years, 6 years, Jesus. They're more of like, I mean, they like they like high spots and whatnot, but they're more of an old school crowd. So I mean, if you actually chain wrestle, they're into that too. So I mean, they're like very oh god, like Southern Territories type of crowd. So
I speaking of technical chain wrestling, you changed some things up a bit there with when you were wrestling Nikki there. Some stuff I've not seen before. I'm like, wow, this is great. This is great here. I love the different style that you incorporated in this match with her. I dug it. It's like this is good. Yeah, I'm seeing something different from you. You know, besides like I mentioned, like, you know, just being a powerhouse in the ring. It's like, okay, oh wait, hey, she pulling that out? Oh man, where was that at? You know, I love that.
It's always been in my back pocket. I keep things in my back pocket because you never know when you're going to have to pull something out that's different. So
I love that. I love that coming off the ropes there and then just like, you know, just kicking her in the head, and I was like,
yeah,
that was cool.
That's kind of that's been my staple for a while. People like when I do that, so shows a little bit of agility and whatnot. So
yeah, that's what I like, and of course the double hand slap. I always love that when you do that. Yeah, that always gets the crowd, man. They get into that with the slaps, and they're like, one more time, pow.
Yep, just bring it down.
That's
got to give the crowd what they want.
That's that is. It goes back to what you said. You listen to the crowd, and the crowd says one more time, and it's like, you want one more time? It's like, sorry, but we got to do what the crowd wants.
Right. It's like, trust me, it'll pay off in the end.
Yep. You want that big pop, man. You want that big pop. It's always good to have those big pops. When I was listening to the commentary, they said that you had an injury. What type of injury was it? It wasn't a shoot, was it, or what? Or
it was a shoot. And what had happened was, if you go back and watch my match in September with Renee, basically what had happened was I was in the corner and she was charging me, and I went to get out of the corner, and my hand must have hooked her like on her leg, and I broke my hand.
Oh.
So like middle of the match, and I'm just like, okay, well, we got to finish this. So it's what it is, you know. I mean,
yeah. How long were you out with the injury? It was just a few months.
Oh God, or? They put me in a like a soft cast. I said because I said I'm going to have to take this off to like soak it because it kept swelling, and I wanted to keep putting ice on it and keep putting it under hot water so I could do therapy as it's healing. They said 4 weeks, and I was probably back at practice like within a week. I know, don't listen, don't do what I do, kids. It was a bad idea, but like I would go to practice, and I'm like, I can't just stand around. So I would, I wouldn't do a whole lot, but I would work on like cardio and just like basic drills and stuff. Anywhere where I could keep my arm tucked in, where I couldn't wreck it even more. But yeah. I'm like, I had to do something. I couldn't sit for 4 weeks. I can't sit.
Right. Because you're on a title run right there at the same time, correct?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You were up there, and that's the one thing I hate seeing or hearing is when someone's finally get to here, and then all of a sudden it's like an injury happens in that run. It's like, man, but you gotta take care of yourself, and you gotta take care of the injury. And they said that match I watched was like your first match back, which I mean was a banger, man. It was a banger.
Yeah. Yeah, I took January off for that reason. Because I'm like, after after I lost the title in December, I said, well, okay, well, there's no pressure on me anymore. I can just heal. I don't have to go at a hellion's pace. I took whenever the December show was until like 2 weeks ago in February when I had the match with Nikki. So it was, if you count up the days, it was about 60 days, 50, 60 days where I just let myself pretty much heal. So, and then, I kept doing, I would still go to the gym and do cardio and all that. So I would at least I wouldn't lose that. But my hands, it'll never be 100%. But I mean, even before this, I had like tendonitis and carpal tunnel in this wrist anyway. So I mean, I kind of wish I messed it up more so I would have surgery and so I would be able to use it better. But but it's all right. I mean, I can still use it.
That's good. I mean, you can still use it, and you used it pretty well in that match there. Again, double slap, pow.
And here's the funny thing: like when you before you break your arm or hand or whatever, you don't realize how much. I'm right-handed, I do a lot of left dominant things, so you don't realize how much you use your non-dominant hand until it's gone. So I'm sitting here trying to open jars and stuff. I'm like, I can't open it with this hand anymore. So I would stick it in the crook of my elbow and just twist it. So I've found ways around it. But I mean, for like a month or two, it was a pain in the ass. Like I couldn't do a lot of stuff. But I mean, it's fine now. It's just like one of the little outside bones, and they didn't need surgery. So I said, all right, well, I guess I didn't do it. I didn't screw myself up that bad. So.
That's good. That's really really good. But yeah, my brother, he just recently had surgery on his elbow, man. He has gout really bad, and it's like quit eating pork, and he's like, I love it. It's like, stop doing it, man.
It's like you can cut back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's like, yeah, no. And then it affected his elbow, man. His elbow swelled up, and I came over one night, and he's like, I'm not feeling good, man. And I saw his elbow. I'm like, good Lord, man. I'm like, wrap that thing up.
It was a jump scare.
Yeah, it jump scared me, man. When he showed that thing, it was like growing its own personality. I'm like, you need to go to the hospital. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go in the morning. I'll be to take care of him. I'm like, are you? Yeah. Well, that morning I called him, and he's like, yeah, I called, he called her other brother, and he's like, he's coming to get me. I'm going to go get it checked out. And they said, thank God he went in there and got it checked out, because if not, they would have his arm, man.
Because at a certain point, if you cut all the circulation off and you lose all your feeling and all the nerves and stuff. I mean, if you got nerve damage and circulation damage, it's just better to.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, he was in the hospital there. He was upset because it was a weekend of the Royal Rumble, because we were all going to get together and watch it, and he couldn't watch it, and I sat here at the house with my wife, and we watched it, and I was just sitting there the whole time. I'm like, man, he's missing this.
It's when you give him your Peacock password and be like, hey, dude, just sit on your little laptop there and just watch it. It'd be good. You can't be with all of us. However, you can still watch it,
Yeah, he was pretty much I talked to him like 4 days later. I called and texted him, getting nothing. 4 days later, he's like, yeah, I'm getting out of the hospital. And him on the laptop, that's like, how do you do that? Because he's
it's like you just, oh my God, it's like you just push the button, dude. Just push the fucking button.
He's not tech savvy. He just got a new laptop too, and I was trying to show him how to scroll because he didn't know how to do that, and he's learning. I'm showing him how to navigate.
And the fun thing is, with a lot of the newer laptops, I'm on my husband's computer, and he didn't realize that this thing was a touch screen until I went one day and I just went and I started scrolling up and down. I went, dude, your shit's a touch screen, dude. And I said, you work tech support for one of the biggest companies and I'm like, you didn't know this was a touch screen? So I like to razz him about that every now and again, but I know he's a lot smarter with computers than I am. I know enough to be dangerous, but outside of that, I'm like, hey, do this. So he's the one that does all the pay-per-views for us. So I'm like, he set that up. That was his genius. That's his brainchild. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. And that's for SCW, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we don't have any scheduling conflicts, I mean, we could pretty much do it for anyone. But it's pretty much SCW right now. We did one for POW last year. I forgot when, but we did one POW pay-per-view. So.
Oh, nice. That's cool. I like that, man. That's pretty neat. You know what's crazy is about being like tech savvy. When I was on YouTube and when I'd upload videos and stuff, I'd always see the premiere set as a premiere. I'm like, what is set as a premiere? And then I got looking into it. I'm like, oh, it's almost like you can stream it live, but it's set up like a premiere. And I was talking to one of the promoters I worked with down here back in 2021. He called me the other day, and we were sitting there talking about the old times there, when I was doing production for CFWE. And he said, I told him, I said, if I would have known about Premiere, uploading your matches, the matches and everything I was doing for you up on YouTube instead of streaming them live, if I knew about the Premiere, I would have just did that.
Right.
Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, I never thought about that either. And I was like, neither did I. But so it's funny what you learn. And one of the things I learned how to do was with the software I have when I was working for Adrenaline Wrestling down here, when I was editing matches and the events that they had, and I realized I was clicking on the options on the tools, on the preference on the software I use, and I saw multi-camera angle editing. I'm like, what's that? So I looked into it. I'm like, dude, no way. So what I would do with the roaming cam, hard cam, I put it, match it up where it's in sync.
Right.
And I'd go frame by frame.
And then you would cut to camera 1, camera 2 kind of thing. Yeah, all right.
Well,
and it would like show different angles of the match.
Yeah, well, at first I was cutting it frame by frame, like old school. Like I'd switch to this camera view, go back, and it would take me a long time. But when I found multi-camera angle out, it's like I could switch to the cameras while I'm watching it, and it's cutting it and editing it at the same time. So I do like a 10-minute match. I would edit that thing in like 15 minutes.
Right.
I was like, dude, this is so much better because a 10-minute match would take me about an hour, almost 2 hours.
Right. So you're like, all right, what frame do I want to click over to? Okay, now we're on this frame, and yeah.
Yeah, it made my life so much easier, Natasha. It did. I was just like, I got done because it would take me almost a week to edit a show, a whole like 8-card match show. It took me 3 days.
Right. I was like, a couple hours a day, just
yeah.
And then release them as you get them.
Mm-hmm. What took the longest was when I'd render it, because I'd render it in
because I have to put it all together.
Yeah, because I would have to do it high quality, because I found out when you upload stuff in high quality, when you upload it like YouTube or Facebook, it drops it a bit.
It does.
Yeah. And
it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it is. So it's like I'm like uploading these videos on like HD, these big files, and then it's taken forever to upload, but then when it's done, it still looks, the resolution and stuff drops a little, but it still looks great. It still looks amazing. So that's the one plus about it, was doing the multi-camera, learning that. I'm like, oh man, this is great. I'm sitting back, I'm like, click 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 click, and I'm like, yeah, this is great.
Right.
I had someone ask me one time, they said, hey, did you watch my match? I was like, oh, the one you edit?
I edit
or I
it.
edit. I'm like, yeah, I don't, the only time I really go back and watch it is after I edit, just to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
And then if I see something I don't like, I just go back to the hard copy file and go to that point and just adjust where I need to, and then save it and re-render it again.
And then poop, you're done.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. But it was fun getting to explore and find out new things like that was right in front of you and you don't even know.
It's like, well, one day I decided to click this button and my life changed.
Yeah, it did. It's like, oh hell, I could do this, man. It's like, yeah, that cut down a lot of time there. My wife's like, man, it takes you forever to do this, don't it? And I'm like, well, no, it don't now, no more. It's like click, 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 click. And she's like, wow, you already done with that? Yeah, I'm already done.
Yeah,
I'm like, check this out. And she's watching me edit, and
How
she's
good
like,
this looks.
yeah, she's looking at me. She's like, what's this? And I'm like, yeah, this is
What
camera one.
sorcery is this? Like, it'll all make sense in the end. I promise. It'll all make sense. Right now, it looks like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but it'll make sense in the end. Just trust me on this.
Yeah, that's pretty much how, in a nutshell, how that happened there. It pretty much has. Have you been keeping up with any of the big two companies like WWE, AEW lately?
I watched, was it the Rumble, and then the one after that, the
Elimination
Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some downtime, so I just screw it, And a friend of mine let me borrow their Peacock, whatever. So I'm like, all right, since I have this, I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
So yeah, I watched the Rumble and the Elimination Chamber, and I haven't really been keeping up previous to that a whole lot, but I did enjoy the Rumble. It was pretty decent. It was pretty solid, and the Elimination Chamber was pretty solid too. I mean, I think there was one match I was like on, but other than that, it was fine.
Yeah. I've been watching it with my brothers. We've been spending a lot of time and stuff. Pay-per-views, we'd all get together, all four of us, and we sit there and watch the pay-per-views. And my brothers are getting really into it, and it's a good way for us to spend time together. And I haven't watched too much going on with the indies, which I've been trying to get back around to renew my IWTV subscription, which I haven't, but I've been keeping on Peacock because I've been finding a lot of content on there to watch too, besides WWE. Been watching new Quantum Leap.
Oh God, I haven't even turned that. Okay, so my husband and I, we've been watching Picard, the new season. So he's a Trekkie, and I got kind of sucked into it. And I went, all right, now that I'm invested in these characters, I'm like, I have to see where their story ends, because I mean, I watched TNG back in the day because I love Patrick Stewart. I just think he's a cool dude, and so I'd watch all of those, and then I got invested in the other ones too, like Voyager and stuff, and Deep Space Nine. But we've been watching Picard. We literally just got done watching before I came on to talk to you, and I went, rarely does a show make me go, oh shit, what's going to happen next? And the third episode of Picard, I was like, oh God, they're really effed. I'm like sitting here going, the entire time I barely looked at my phone. I'm like, oh my God, what? So I was pretty happy. Like I said, maybe it's just because the business I'm in or whatever. Yeah. But it's hard to surprise me sometimes. Like I'll just watch a show and I'm like, okay, I can see what's happening here. But I was like, oh shit, they're really up creek now. They're really up a creek. And I went, all right, I need it to be Thursday. Let's go. Come on, I want to see the new episode.
That's how I'm with Quantum Leap. That's how I am.
I used to watch all the old ones. Is it pretty close to the old ones, or?
Oh yeah. It's you know how the old one, it had Sam, he'd leap into someone and then he'd have to like correct and make sure something was done right, and when it was done right,
yeah.
he'd leap
And then
again.
he could go on to the next.
It's pretty much the same thing. It's supposed, this takes place 30 years after Sam was in disappeared from Quantum Leap, and a new guy, Ben, he leaps, and his hologram is his fiance, Addison, and she's pretty much guiding him through, and he's trying to remember like everything that happened. Sam's hologram from the original.
Al, yeah.
Al's daughter is in this, and she's pretty much like she has her hand involved in the Quantum Leap project too, outside of it. But what's cool about this is it shows, Ben, leaping and then trying to fix what's right and, making sure he can, leap onto the next. They're showing that, but also they're showing outside of the place of the Quantum Leap of like stories going on. Like Ernie Hudson's in it. He's like
no way.
Yeah, he's the head director of it, and he's working with his team and stuff. So there's like two stories going on. The one that Ben's in, trying to figure out, well, okay, how do I make this right? How do I prevent whatever's happening? And then outside of that, you got stuff going on with Ernie Hudson and everything too, with the team and stuff, making sure, trying to get Ben back, which is neat. You get two different parallel stories that's going along at the same time, which is great. And whenever it shows at the end of the episode who he leaps into next, you're like, oh man, I want to see what happens next week.
Right. You're like, okay, this is interesting. Now what he's got himself into.
Yeah, that's great. I've been watching Young Rock on there too. I love that. Young Rock, it's so funny.
I haven't turned it on. I think probably after it's done, I'll like sit down and binge watch it. Everyone says it's pretty entertaining, so I'm like, all right, we'll see how. So I listened to Cornette's podcast, and he's like, none of this happened, and I went, oh god. I'm like, he's like, this didn't happen, and I went, oh god, I can't watch this show now because I'm gonna be like, you're right, it didn't happen. I mean, like, it's like from a like him and Brian Last, like from a historian point of view, I can kind of see where they don't like it because it's not accurate. It's accurate, but there's like little white lies they tell along the way.
Yeah, exaggeration.
And then there's some things that like didn't happen. So I'm like, oh god, because I'm gonna go on the internet and go, yeah, they're right. This didn't happen. This didn't happen until much later. So, but I mean, I guess if you're like looking for like entertaining factor, which Rock is very, very entertaining. Let's be real. Like I don't sit down to watch his movies, but if they're on TV and I see them, I'm like, all right, I gotta watch it because it's The Rock. But if you're not looking at it for like historical accuracy, if you can just get that out of your head, it's probably pretty good. But like I said, I haven't watched any of it, but people say it's entertaining. So
it is, and it's coming from his point of view too. That's the thing. He's trying to be entertaining at the same time. But the episodes, on Peacock, they're short. They're like 20 minutes episodes.
Really? Okay.
So you could sit down and like knock out like 3 or 4 or 3
easily binge it.
Oh yeah, within an hour. Like one day, like me and my wife watched there's the 3 seasons is on there right now. They're in the middle. They're in the season 3, but like the first 2 seasons, like we sat down one day and like within a couple hours we were like almost done with the first season and going into the second. It's like no commercials. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like cool. Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, if it holds my attention, I could probably watch it.
Yeah, it's funny comedy, and the people that they got to play, like Hulk Hogan, Triple H, Steve Austin.
Yeah,
they're it's like generic versions of them, but it's like, okay, I get it. Like, I mean, the closest person that plays this character that resembles this character is Andre, that guy. That's
okay.
The closest though, but I mean, even the person playing Rocky Johnson, he's pretty good. He's funny. He is, and it's like as I say that, I look over and I'm looking at the picture of Rocky Johnson I have on my wall. I met him. I met him at the Daytona Beach comic book convention back a few years ago before he passed away. And I walked up there and he had his table and I'm looking at the pictures and I look at him and he's like, I was like, hello. He's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, pretty good. You know, he's like, take a look at the pictures, you know, pick out one. I'm sitting there looking, and I'm just like, man, there's so many to pick. And I'm going looking, and he goes, pick one out and I'll sign it for you. I was like, okay. And he's like, how about this one? He was trying to help me. He's like, how about this one here? He's like, that's my son. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna rib him. I'm gonna rib him. So I was like, he's like, that's my son. I go, that's your son? He's like, yeah, that's my son. I said, The Rock's your son? He's like, yeah, man. He looks over and he goes, is this full of real? Is it full of real? I was like, The Rock is your son? He's like, yeah, he's my son. I said, oh, I know that, man. I'm just ripping you. He's like, he's like, which one you want? And I'll sign it. And I was like, here, you know, I got the one where he's flexing in the ring and he signed Rocky Johnson. And I was ribbing him there. He's like, I just lost it when he looked over and he's like, is this for real? Like, I said,
it's like I got him.
Yeah, I was like, I know you're the Rock's dad, and I said, I appreciate it. I told him I appreciate everything he's done, you know, in wrestling and his career and stuff. And I said, there's one question I want to ask you. He goes, after he signed autograph, he handed it to me. He goes, shoot. I said, what did it feel like for you and Tony Atlas winning the WWE Tag Team Championships? He looked at me, he slapped his hands down, he looked up at me, he goes, greatest feeling of my life. I said, thank you, sir, you have a nice day. And that's pretty much pretty much it, man. That's all he said. Greatest day of his life. That's all. Didn't elaborate anymore, but you ever run across anyone and like you're like, I'm gonna rib them, and then you go through with it or you don't, or
I mean, I've had opportunities to do so, and I'm like, I said, because once people know my weaknesses, they're very few, but I'm like, I don't like to exploit my weaknesses. Like that's a can of worms I am not opening. I mean, I could, but I'm like, so I'm like, they know me as well as I know them, so I'm like, that'd probably be a bad idea. Feelings get hurt.
Yeah, I've seen some ribbon. I've actually, you know, you hear the stories, but I actually seen it back at one of the promotions. I'm not gonna say I seen it, and I happened to be on the tail end of a rib at one time too. So
right, it's like as long as they're not too bad, you're like, all right, you got me. All right.
Yep. Yeah, it's all fun, man. It's all fun. Everyone ribs each other, man. It's you know, it's part of the business. You know, you're back there.
And like I said, most times I'm cool with it, but like sometimes if it goes too far, I'm like, But you know, as long as it's lighthearted, not too bad.
Yeah, I agree with that. There, I definitely agree. When we were talking about WWE, I was going to mention like AEW. I know like AEW had like a pay-per-view this past Saturday, and I don't get to watch AEW on Wednesday nights because I don't have cable. So I watch Evolution, Dark Evolution, and Dark on Monday and Tuesday and stuff. And I've been really enjoying that because it's talent I see come on there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen them before. Yeah, you know, it's like seeing Rico on there, Rico Gonzalez on there on Dark, putting up a hell of a match. Getting to see some talent here, some workers that I've worked at a few shows that's on Dark. Like I worked with one worker down here for Adrenaline. He ended up on Dark, I think 2 or 3 times. Gus De La Vega, and it's like, wow, it's like I edit their match. for adrenaline, and then you get to see them on Dark, which is pretty amazing.
Right, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whenever AEW rolls into like Chicago, I know a lot of workers around there have been on, and I think Sky Blue has a contract. So, but she's been around she's in the Chicago area for a little while. So,
yeah, I heard. I've heard she's been in the Chicago area for quite a while, and I've seen quite a few matches on YouTube there, and I mean, I like her work in the ring. I like what energy and stuff she brings, and it's great to see her on like Dark Elevation, seeing her on programs like that there, and even one name I have to throw this out there, Billy Starks.
Yeah. She's kind of a favorite. Mm-hmm. I do like her.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not? I mean, look at the opportunity now. Since she's 18 now, Japan, working AEW and stuff. It was funny because she got on Twitter there and said the dirt sheets know more about me than I do, and I'm like, what? So I looked into it. I went on one of the dirt sheets. I'm reading, and I'm like, wow, okay. And I thought that was funny there because it kind of, it just, they need something to write about, and then they talk about some stuff there, and some stuff I already knew, but then the other stuff I'm like, oh really? Huh.
It's like they're reporting on shit I forgot about. I'm like, I did that? I must. I don't remember it, but I guess I did. I'm like, there was cameras back then, so I guess I was.
Yeah, it amazes me how much dirt sheets pick up and just write stuff, and I try to stay off of them much as I can, but
oh yeah,
it's hard, and especially hearing like someone who's like does a podcast talking about dirt sheets and using that information. It is kind of hard for me to actually like, it's like turn it off and stuff. I think I was listening to one day, and I was just listening to him going on and on and on, and I'm like, ugh. I'm just like, I can't take it. And
but you have to ask him like, where did you hear it, and how much of this is true? Like, consider your source. I always say consider your sources with dirt sheets. I'm like, you can read them. They're like the Inquirer and all them tabloids. I'm like, how much is true and how much is like that much truth, and they just ran with. Mm-hmm. Tom Cruise didn't pick up dog shit out of his neighbor's yard, and then it becomes this whole big thing, and it's like he just didn't pick dog shit up. It's not that serious, and I'm like, guys, there's got to be other things to report on in the world besides this. Come on, come on.
Sometimes I wish and think back how things were back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when the stuff was there, but it only a selected few people.
If you had access to the messenger board or whatever, you could read it, but otherwise nobody knew about the shit going on in wrestling. Nobody knew about finishes and all that, and I'm like, it for like the newer fans, it does take it. I feel like it does take away from a lot of that kind of stuff. So, it ruins your element of surprise. Like, oh, well, I know this guy's going to win, so why the fuck am I watching it? I'm going to waste 20 minutes of my time when I could be doing something else. And it really turns out, it turns off fans. I know it turns me off. I can't speak from like a true fan's perspective. But it's like going to a theater and watch a movie, and someone says, "Oh, this is what happens at the end." I'm like, "Well, why the fuck am I paying money to watch this movie?" And you just spoil it for me.
Right.
I get that spoilers. Spoilers are annoying. Sometimes I do like to know kind of what I'm getting into, but I don't have to know the ending. It's like, just give me the plot and like the meat in the middle and a little context. I'm like, all right, yeah, we can do this. But yeah, people are just like, we're like move for move. They'll spell it out, and I'm like, well, that kind of ruins the illusion, and it doesn't make it fun for people that actually like to watch this stuff.
Right. Right.
And I've noticed that like a lot of most people know that wrestling isn't completely real. Okay, fine. You can blame Vince McMahon, you can blame the dirt sheets, whatever. But I mean, for the people that do like to watch it and they don't care if it's real or not, they don't care. They just want to watch it, And I feel like that can really ruin your fan base and your potential customers and all that. Because I mean, like, why would most like movies? Everyone knows they're fake. Movies aren't real. All the shit that happens in movies, it's not real. But you still go to watch them. So why would you alienate your fan base by coming out and going, "Hey, everything we do is bullshit. It's phony,"
Yeah.
So and that's like the rumors and stuff and all that backstage drama. Okay, fine. We read tabloids because they're funny and we want to feel better about our lives. And that's why we watched Jerry Springer back in the day. That's why I did. Okay.
I did too.
But you're like, oh, well, it's fake. It's all scripted. You don't care, but you're like, oh, that guy, his life is fucked right now. So I'm glad I'm not him. But again, why would you alienate your current fan base and your potential fan base, but just going out and say, like I said, saying it's fake and phony, and not giving the audience to watch it and decide for themselves whether they like it or not. So
right,
I don't know.
Right,
Whatever.
I understand your point. It's like why come out and say, hey, this is this ain't real, or this is scripted.
Or like, MJF is going to win at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't have to watch it. Like, why did you do that? I'm like, most of us know he's going to win. He just got strapped. And if you know how the business works, he literally just got strapped. So you're like, they're not going to hot potato him because he just got strapped. I'm like, and Daniel Bryan's, it's not Bryan, whatever the fuck he's called now. He doesn't need a title. He doesn't need a fucking title. How many, like how long has he been in the WWF before he came over to AEW? Like, how many accolades does he have? He doesn't need a title. MJF is 26 years old. This is his first major title, I think. So let him have that. Let him have that. So even if he dropped it at the pay-per-view, which would be the absolute most stupid idea, but for the short time he would have it, let him have that. Let him have that. Don't take the focus off of him. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that the dirt sheets, so they're like, and I'm kind of getting on my soapbox tangent. And a lot of people that I've talked to, like in the business field, so I'm like, when you have the title, the focus is supposed to be on you and what you can do. And for 3 years, he busted his ass.
He did.
MJF did, and I love MJF. God, he's the best pure heel in a long fucking time.
He gets the business. He gets it.
He would, in the 70s and 80s, he would have had riots started.
Yeah,
he would have had riots started.
Yeah,
not that he doesn't have now. Because like a month or two ago, like somebody called the police on because he said he was going to come to some school and beat somebody. I don't know what the story was, but the cops got called on. And I went, that he gets it. He's got his finger on the pulse. But again, like, let him have his title run. Let him shine. And I have so much to say about it. I mean, I could go on for hours about every title run that I've seen and how they've botched it and how the dirt sheets just go, well, and then people pick on Roman Reigns. And I went, look, he was strapped when the pandemic started, when there's no fucking crowds. And I will admit that his mic work wasn't the best in the beginning. No. And that's why he had Paul Heyman, but he's evolved so much. If Paul Heyman...
Yes.
If Paul Heyman walked right now, he'd be fine on his own. All he has to come out and say is acknowledge me and do this thing. He doesn't have to cut a promo. He doesn't say shit. Just come out, and that's all he has to do.
Yeah.
He's evolved. He's grown so much. And then with the other Usos and all that, he doesn't. I like that Heyman's with him, because if he gets stuck, Paul Heyman can just go, what the tribal chief means to say is, and he can just recover. But I'm like, let Roman have it. I know he's been champ for 3 years now, but again, he was strapped during COVID.
Yeah.
When nobody's in, and he took and ran with that, and I think that he did such a great job. And the reason they're keeping the title on him even to this day is because he's improved so much, and people hate him.
Yes.
The
Yes.
people he's moving merch. People paying attention to him. Whenever he's on I think Cornette breaks down I know he breaks down the AEW, like per quarter hour or whatever. But I think if you looked up the segments that Roman's on, people watch him. People watch him. So I mean, that's why he's still champion. So I mean, it's simple business if you think about it. Like if people tune in to watch you, whether you're a champion or not, they're going to put you on TV more and more and more until people turn TV off and go, I don't want to see that anymore. So,
Right.
and that's when you have like a cool down period. He'll go away for a while, and then he'll come back or do whatever. But yeah, he's for the past 3 years, he's had a lot of eyes on him. So I say kudos to him, and he, with the evolution of his character and his business and all that. I think it's fucking great. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it closely, but I've watched it enough to be like, okay, he was not the dude he was 3 years ago. He looks better.
Yeah.
He sounds better. He carries himself. Walks out just, and that's all it is.
More natural. He's more natural. They kind of they let him be.
They
himself.
let him be. They let him be him.
Yeah, so. And it's great. It's great. The cockiness. And he just, being the heel champion. Heel champions, to me, are great because they get away with a lot more, and they bring that heat, and it's great. I love the heat they bring to them, to them.
And then every week you tune in to see if he gets his ass beat.
Exactly.
That's what it is. But like with MJF and Roman, the heel champions are better because you're like, well, if they were good guys, think about it this way. They're not going to lose. And if they do lose, they have to lose spectacularly. I mean, it has to be a screw job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you're going to watch the next guy, the asshole that has the belt now. You want to see him get his ass kicked. When you should really be watching the good guy. His focus should have been like how he beats the odds and how he never like John Cena never gives up, beats the odds and all that. And so like if you were to put this title on Cena and then take it away right away, you've made him look like an idiot. You've made him look really weak. And if you've seen Cena, he's a physical fucking specimen, and there's no way that he should be weak.
Right.
So but you're right. You're right about the heel champions because you want to see him get his ass beat, and then after a while, they kind of grow, and you're like, do I really want to see him get his ass? I do, but at the same time, like he's making me watch this, and I'm mad about it, and I don't want to watch this. But he's just such a jerk. Like with MJ, I feel like he's such an asshole.
Yeah.
You secretly cheer for him, like, yeah, but you're like, fuck that guy.
Yes. Exactly. My brother, the one I spend time with, he said to me, man, I don't know. I said, no, don't know about what? Well, I don't know. I don't think I'd like to see Cody Rhodes become champion at WrestleMania, but I don't know. Roman may hang on that belt after Mania, and I got to thinking, I'm like, that could possibly happen, but with everything in story that's going, it would be nice to actually give Cody his WrestleMania moment, let him run with the title, and then have Roman chase that title and get it back, and I mean it'd be good storytelling right there. It definitely would be. It definitely would be, good storytelling. And some of the matches for Mania this year, they're pretty interesting. They're shaping up to what I'm like really want to see. Like from like work wise, of course I want to see Cody and Roman in the ring there tear it up. I like to see how that's going to go and what kind of story they tell. But also, it's like Finn Balor and Edge. I've always liked Edge. And Edge, he's worked with the best of them, and he tells a great story. And I'm excited to see that right there because it's one of those stories, but it's also hitting personal too. It's hitting
yeah.
that, and the same thing with the main event for this year. But
Get your Edge fill while you can, because the rumors are he's retiring at the end of the year, and he's 50. He doesn't need to come. I'm glad that he looks great and he's in shape and all that, but I don't know if I would have had the fusion surgery and all that bullshit. I don't. Yeah, I broke my hand and I'm questioning myself. I can't imagine what I would feel like. And I get that, like, when he came back, he said it was, I didn't retire. My neck retired me. My injuries retired me. But I get it, and I love his passion for the business and all. But self-preservation is a thing, Adam. You're 50. You look great. You and your wife just look fucking amazing.
yeah,
But like with him and Daniel Bryan, one wrong turn and you're paralyzed. I'm like, I know you love the business and I get it and I respect that, but I don't know, is it really worth it? I'm like, because like Edge has done everything. He's been all the champions, all the tag teams, and all the world champions, and all this and that. And I'm like, is it really worth it, man? Like, just come back as a trainer. I'm like, help people book matches in the back.
yeah, right.
Something a little less impacty. There's a million things you can do, and with as much experience, 20 some years with the WWE, they can pick your brain and go, oh, what do you think about this? You could be a booker, you could write matches and this and that and storylines. I'm like, because what people want to see. You were in the Attitude Era, when people were tuning in, a lot. So I'm like, what people want to see. You listen. I'm like, you read the same message boards we do. What we want to see. So I'm like, just
he does.
Preservation.
Well,
you can walk today. You might not walk tomorrow, dude. Just trust me. And you've got little kids. Just come on. I love you, but damn.
You heard about how he found out that he could take a bump again. He was on a bike ride with Sheamus. Because Sheamus does a video blog or
I love his. They're fun.
They were on a bike ride and he hit a bump and he fell, and when he flew off the bike, him being a worker all these years, it was like
bam.
Yeah, he hit and he got right up and he was like, "Oh, I could still walk," and he's like, what the hell? So he went to the doctor and is like, check my neck. And what was it? He retired in 2011 and he came back in 2020. That's 9 years, right?
Yeah. He had a little bit of a time off. Yeah.
Yeah. 9 years. That surgery he had, where they on his neck, everything fused together and it was like stronger. And it was like, I could do this again.
Superman.
So yeah. Well, that's like Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels hurt his back. He didn't wrestle for 4 years, 5 years. He came back and put on some of the best matches before he retired, man. Especially with the Undertaker.
Oh yeah.
Your body, like look at Saraya Page, formerly known as Paige. Look at that right there. Edge gave people that had injuries, long-term injuries, that had, it gave them hope. It gave her hope, because I guess she was wanting to come back and wrestle, and then things weren't going well with WWE behind the scenes, and she just jumped over to AEW. And then before it was too late, she's like, I'm already gone, I'm coming back, in the ring again. But it was just amazing like that. And that gave, having that happen to Edge, and it gave him hope. It's like, okay, cool. I could go out now on my terms. Like you said, he said, I go out on my terms now, not when my body said. And I think that's great. And yeah, Edge, this year, oh man, it's been great so far. And I like to see where else it goes. I've been talking about this year, I've been keeping my eye on two people. My eye is on two people in WWE right now. LA Knight and Solo Sequoia. By the end of this year, people's gonna be talking about them a lot. They're like LA Knight. That guy, he's great on the stick and he's great in the ring. And plus, yeah. And plus, he was trained by Cody Hawk. That's why I even like him even more. You know, Cody freaking Hawk trained him. Shout out to Cody Hawk. And
because the weird thing about and I do like LA Knight, and I don't know what I was thinking when I was watching the Elimination Chamber, because I was like, doesn't he have a title? And they're like, oh yeah, and then his title was on the line. I'm like, well, he's not going to lose this because they just gave it to him. I'm like, why would you put him on such a hot streak and take it away? And I went, yeah. It's just I hate when I can predict it. I'm like, oh God, man, he's gonna get his ass beat, but he's gonna pull it off.
Yeah, it was
a good one though. It was good though.
Yeah, he's gonna make people talk about him. He was trending the other day on Twitter. I'm like, why is this guy trending on Twitter and people talking about him? And I said to myself, this is great. This is great. I'm glad people's talking about him. And then Solo Sikoa, when he breaks away from the bloodline.
Oh, yeah.
Man, dude, that guy's going to be a powerhouse. I'm waiting for him when he breaks away and he's out there on his own. He was
and Steiner's boy would probably have a banger.
Oh, Braun Breaker? Yeah.
Yeah, because didn't him and Walter? I liked Walter too. And when didn't they have a match last few months? I think, didn't they?
I think.
Or was everybody talking about it?
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, he needs to. Oh yeah, because he beat Walter. He beat him.
Braun Breaker. Yeah, he's. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tell my brother. I said, night after WrestleMania, look for Braun Breaker, and he goes, because he knows who he is. I pointed him out and showed him. He goes, oh, that's Steiner's boy. I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, he looks like him.
He talks like him.
Everything. I said. It's going to be neat to see what show he falls on, Raw or SmackDown. And I like, who is he going to feud with first? That's going to be great. And I'm saying to myself, I said, I hope it's not LA Knight, man. Keep them away for a while.
Right. Yeah. Build up to it and like allude to it here and there, but
yeah,
there's other people he'd go against, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he's still pretty new, and he kind of has to learn. Like, I mean, his timings and whatnot is pretty good from what I've seen, but put him in there with like the veterans and stuff to kind of polish him up, and then because he's already there. I mean, because he's already got like all of his moves set and all that. He looks pretty comfortable in the ring, so just give him a little bit more time to kind of develop, and then let him go. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'd love that. Let me talk to you. Yeah. I was at work. I was doing traffic control, like I was telling you, and we were letting cars go. We had so many cars go on the road. I had to stop traffic. Okay, let your side go. I'll let my side go. So we go so many, and then all of a sudden you got to stop. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, so a couple of guys got in there trying to be funny, and all of a sudden, it's one of the guys said, "Okay, I'm letting my side go." I was like, "All right, let them rip."
Yeah.
Okay. I should do that. And they go, and then all of a sudden, I got on there and I said, "All right, I got my side, getting ready to let it rip. What? Okay, here we go. All right."
You did a Stone Cold.
Yeah. And then there was some guys working that's with this other company, and they're sitting there working. They look up and they're like, looking at stuff. I'm like, yes, you did. Here's Stone Cold on the thing, and then
let this some bitch go through.
And then when the last car come through, I get on there and I go, I got myself a Chevy Silverado. What? I said Silverado, 4-door, black. What? Hell yeah! And And they just and all of a sudden, like, my supervisor gets on there and goes, "Hell yeah!" It's like,
If you want these cards to come through, give me a hell yeah.
yeah, I'm just doing that there. And then I thought about I said I should do Dusty Roads there. We got ourselves a Plymouth Lincoln coming through right now, a 4-door wide, coming
baby.
straight to you, baby. You got to make time pass because it's long out, it's long days, and
well, and you're just watching cars go by. You're like, all right, how do we make this fun?
yeah. So this one guy, it was on a scooter the other day. I think it was it was yesterday. I was sitting there and I looking at him and I said, "How you doing today, sir?" He said, "Better than you." And I said, "I don't mind this." And I pulled the Steve Rogers card out. I said, "I could do this all day."
All day.
And he grinned. He says, "I would too, but I'm too old to do that." He said, "I'm retired. All I do is sit home and drink beer." I said, "When I'm not doing this, sir, I'm sitting at home drinking beer."
I've been like, hell yeah, Steve Weiser.
He laughed. You gotta make the time pass. It's like today was like a long day for me. I was at work at 6:00 in the morning, and I didn't get off till 4:30 today. I ended up working late, which I thought I didn't, but I did. But I mean, you can see I got sun.
Right,
the sun
you got the
all
farmer's
day.
hand on there.
I do. I mean, look.
Good God, man!
Yeah, I know. I'm in the sun all the
if
time.
my shirt's down, I look tan as hell. But if I go like this, my secret's out.
I got the raccoon eyes too from wearing these all day. See, yeah. These are my safety sunglasses, man. They're safety glasses too. Yeah, you can see I got raccoon, man. I'm out in the sun. I'm out in the sun all day. That's what I do. I love it. I love working outside. Before I was always an indoor person, but now doing this for as long as I have been here,
You just kind of get used to it. You're like, you look forward to it a little bit. Like, you're out in the sun. I'm like, not so bad.
yeah. One day I was off. I spent all day outside of my house. Wife's like, "You didn't come in?" I'm like, "Yeah, when the sun's down, I'll come in." When the street lights come on, I'll come in, mommy.
Right? It's like I belong with the wolves right now. I'm feral.
Oh, that's great. That is great.
You hear dogs down the street. Oh, you're like, I hear my people calling me. I must answer.
I was looking up on your Facebook page here for some, stuff, announcements and stuff, and I found something here. And,
oh boy.
Yeah. Let me look at this here. Let me share this screen here. I was wanting to ask you about this here. So, tell me about this here. POWW.
Oh, POW. Yeah. They're
Yes.
So we were feuding with them for a good year or so, and I mean, it's still kind of a feud going on. But yeah, it's some interesting stuff going on. My boss, Hunter Payne, big guy in the back, took the title from Max Holiday, which is where it should be, because Max Holiday is kind of a jerk.
I was looking at this. This poster, this flyer looks really good. Whoever designed that, shout out to whoever designed this here. I love the name.
Yeah.
April Foolishness, Saturday, April 1st.
It's a pretty neat flyer. I do like their flyers.
It is. Are you going to be at this show or not?
No, I will. I'm not available that day, but I need to actually start going to more shows and just kind of like scoping the scene and whatnot.
Nice. Nice. But
Yeah, we don't have a flyer for April yet. There were or March. They're working on it. But one of the students actually does the flyers for us, and I think they do pretty good. They're pretty good flyers. So I like their
that's
flyers. And then they do like they'll do like match cards and stuff. So I'm always happy with mine because I look good. I look scary as hell. Because I mean the one with the last one that they did it was for me and Nikki, and I was sitting there going like this, so I'm like scary as hell. I've got veins pulping out and everywhere. And I'm like, oh my god, I wouldn't fight me.
You mean
I
this
look
one right
crazy.
here?
Huh?
This one right there?
Yeah, I look psycho. I look like
Yeah,
I
you
rip
do.
somebody in half. It looks. You know what? That was one of my better acrylic paints that I've done. So that one actually looks pretty good. Yeah, and when my hair is hair is usually shaved, I'll put like my like designs up into my hair and stuff because I got it shaved all the way back. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, I try to do something a little bit different every time. So I'm like I get bored with things and I'm like, all right, what do I want to do today?
That's yeah. You got to get creative. You definitely got to get creative there. But since we're talking about flyers and shows, you are you going to be working at any shows here lately? Any upcoming shows?
Well, I know we have a show not this weekend, but next weekend, SCW. I don't know if I have a match with them yet. But I'll be there. So you never know when I'm gonna pop up. I'm like a bad penny. I tell everyone I'm like a bad penny. You don't know when I'm gonna pop up.
Nice. Well, that's cool. I'm gonna have to look forward to that when they put some more.
Oh yeah,
matches
just watch
out.
either SCW's page or my page. When they start sharing flyers, I'll put stuff out. So yeah, I try to remember to put them on all my little all the Facebook and Instagram and all that. So yeah, usually whenever there's a match, and I think there's a fundraiser for this month. God, I can't think of what it is. But I think so. It was like a cancer or leukemia fund or something for like one of the. Hold on, let me look it up because if I don't, I'm just gonna. And I literally just posted about it the other day. Hold on, I feel dumb.
No. That's. I get a lot going on at one time, and I try to remember. Did I put that out there, or did I not?
Yeah,
put that
so
out there?
I know it's so the 18th is when we have our show, and then the 19th we have a roundtable, which is going to be on Podbean and I think anyone with an account can tune in and make comments and whatnot. So it's just freaking wrestling JFW. Yeah, so even if you want to tune in or whatever, it's at 10 a.m. Eastern, so I think it's like 9 or 10. And then a lot of the Travis does that, and he will interview like people that were on the show and whatnot, and talk about things that happened at the show and whatnot. So it's just kind of like like a recap or whatever. So
Okay.
it's just kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, send me the stuff on there because I still have a Podbeam account, but I don't upload podcast anymore. I've switched over to Anchor, and Anchor when I put stuff up on Anchor, it automatically goes on Spotify because they're connected. Because Spotify owns Anchor FM. So I went to that.
Okay.
I want to throw this out there. Tiffany Ann, Queen of the Indies, who has a podcast. I gotta thank her for hooking me up that way last year when I was down and out and I couldn't pay my Podbeam account. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna put it on. I was going through a bad 2-month period there where it just everything just was like, damn.
When it rains, it pours, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's like, "What are we gonna do?" And it's just like pull the cushions up under the couch and get anything you can find.
Change. Yeah.
Yeah, because it got that bad there for us, and we stayed afloat, and we got through and got above. But during that time there, I didn't pay my Podbean, and they're like, nope, can't upload anything. I'm like, damn it. And I was like, well, I'm gonna upload stuff just on YouTube. And then she reached out to me and said, go to Anchor FM, it's free. Really? So, and they're like,
game changer.
yeah, I gotta thank her for that, man. Tiffany Ann, she listens to this. I probably never said it before, but I've never forgot, and I'm saying it now. Thank you for saving my ass by doing that. And
Yeah,
Spotify,
I mean, because that's kind of like your livelihood. You like doing this. So I mean, if you take something away that you like doing and like talking to people like that, it's it'll really mess with you. So yeah, thank you to Tiffany there.
yeah, she was great. Just reaching out to me, just personally saying, yeah, look in this. This is what my audio is on, and it goes straight to Spotify, which is, I mean, who doesn't have Spotify?
Right. Me and my husband share the Duo account, so he can have his stuff and I can have mine. And I'm like, I listened to that. I had the XM for a while, and I finally just canceled that because I'm like, I don't listen to that half as much as I do with Spotify.
Yeah,
you could put everything where you want it.
I got rid of. I quit paying for Sirius XM in my car. Now it's just FM radio, and sometimes I found one good station I can listen to, which it's 101.9 Orlando alternative, and they play like a variety of different stuff. Because I got tired of listening to 101.1 every once in a while. I'll go on there, but then I get tired of listening to it because they try to
they have the same rotation and all that, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, they compete. They're in Orlando. They're competing with 95.7 The Hog in Daytona, and The Hog is a classic rock station. But when you listen to The Hog, you don't know if most of the time if are you a classic rock station or are you trying to be a sports radio station, because all you hear is like, Led Zeppelin, sports. Led Zeppelin, sports. I'm like, what are you guys? And then the 101.1 WJRR plays hard rock alternative stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm sitting there listening to like freaking Disturbed or what do you call it, what is it, the motionless
Motionless in White.
Yes. And then all of a sudden I hear Tom Petty. I'm like, I like Tom Petty, but why the
it's
hell?
Like you just had two kind of, you had me going a little bit, and then now it's time to I'm like, I don't want to calm down. You just had two songs where I want to kick somebody's ass.
Yeah, Disturbed, Bad Wolves, and then Motionless in White, and then all of a sudden
I love their cover of Zombie.
Yeah,
their cover of Zombie is I'm like, wow. I didn't think anyone could cover it, but I'm like, they did a pretty good job.
Well, what's her name from the Cranberries was supposed to sing on that before she passed away.
But she died, unfortunately. Yeah, I love her. I love the original version, but I'm like, how good can this new version be? How good can they do it? And I went, all right, well, they get a pass. They can do other covers. That's cool. I'm down with that. They did a very good job.
Yeah,
and I think Dolores would have been like, good job.
Yeah, Dolores was supposed to be on there, and she passed away before she get a chance, and they went ahead and put the song out. My nephew, he can't stand them, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. He got so mad. There for a while, he didn't like Disturbed because of Motorhead, because of the beef between Motorhead and Disturbed. And David Drainham came out and said, this is, we buried the hatchet. And I sent the thing to him where basically he's like, yeah, we buried a hatchet, we're cool, and people needs to drop it. And I'm like, look, man,
can't let that stuff go. And
yeah.
I'm like,
and then this is his response to me. Oh, he's lying. I'm like, bullshit, man. I'm like, why you?
I'm like, if somebody comes out and said that there's no heat, just leave it alone.
Yeah.
And if there is, that's their business. Let them deal with it. It's not up to you to.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Let it go, bro. Let it go.
Let it go. This is like we were talking about earlier. I got to throw this in here. You were talking about knowing like who's going to win the match and who's going to win the title or if they're going to retain the title. So I sat down one day. This was years ago to watch one of the Ring of Honor pay-per-views, and I think it was when Cody Rhodes was in Ring of Honor and he was going up for the championship. I'm like, oh, this could be great. My nephew texts me, what are you doing, man? I'm like, oh, get ready to watch ROH. He's like, oh, cool. He's like, yeah, Cody wins the title. I'm like, really? I shut the thing off. I was like, thanks. I don't want to see it now. Because, I wanted to see if he was going to win or not. And I was staying away from everything. He's like, yeah, Cody wins the title. I'm like, son of a... So I got him back. That 2 months later, NXT was having a big pay-per-view. I think it was where Kevin Owens and Finn Balor were battling for the title. And it was right when Kevin was about to go to main roster. And I was like, hey, what are you doing, man? And he's like, oh, I'm at work. I'm getting ready to come home and watch NXT. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, yeah, Finn Balor wins the title. Ain't that awesome?
Got him.
I got him back, and he did not talk to me for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, he didn't talk to me.
It's like, you remember that? It's like, remember the thing you did with Cody and that? Yeah, this payback's bitch.
Yeah, I got it. I got his ass back for that, man. I'm like, yeah, thanks for spoiling that. And he tried to get me to watch, what was it? I think True Blood back in the day. And we watched the first season together. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then he's like, yeah, you can watch the second one. And I got distracted, busy. And then he's like, oh, yeah, the second season, blah, blah, blah. He tells me everything that happens. I'm like, so you want to go? I'm like, I don't want to watch it now. Well, why not? You just told me the whole damn season. I'm not freaking going to sit down and watch it.
It's like if you would just give me like a little, like a little tidbit to get me to sit down and watch it. That's fine. It's like, oh, the first, this happens in the first three episodes, and then it builds, and it gets so much better. And I'm like, okay, now I'm excited. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch those first 3 episodes and be like, oh shit. Now I really want to watch it. Like if you give me a little tidbit like that, that's fine. But I mean, like if you give me the last 3 episodes, I'll be like, what the? I'm not. Nope, don't care.
That's like back in the day when Harry Potter, when the last book came out, and there was videos of people where people are waiting,
riding around in the street, going, Snape kills Dumbledore and all that bullshit. You're like, bro.
I was like, this is so mean, because there was lines of people, like I saw this video, and there's lines of people waiting to buy the book, and people's driving by and they're with the megaphone, on page 436, and the people's going, just losing their shit in line, and then they're like leaving, because they don't want to buy the book now.
Right, yeah, like, oh god, man, for real.
It's like walking to the movie theater. It's like you say out loud, oh yeah, I seen this movie, man, it sucks, so and so dies and so and so gets away at the end, and the movie theater just gets up and leaves.
Right. But then and then when like the whole thing with the Titanic, when it came out back in the day, and then people are surprised when you're like, oh yeah, the boat sinks. Did you not know that? So we've kind of come full circle. That really wasn't a spoiler. Yeah. It really happened. This is based on loosely a true story of the fucking boat itself. I mean, it sinks. It's at the bottom of the ocean. You can swim down there right now, and it's right there. You can go see it. You can go see the Titanic. It's at the bottom of the ocean.
Did you see the director's cut of that movie?
What is it, like 10 hours? Because I saw the one in the theater, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm glad they stopped. Like right.
No, they added a new. There was a scene, and they added 2 new scenes, and one of the scenes is how when what's her name, Rose has the heart, and she, she's about to throw it overboard, and they stop her, and they basically get the heart of the sea back there. Or no, she ends up throwing it away, I think, right in front of them, and they laugh about it.
Yeah, the original one is she just goes, And she had it the whole time, and she just.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like that's
Same.
a good ending to the story because you're like, okay, well, then it floats down and it goes through the Titanic and everything comes back to life, and then I'm like, okay, that's a good ending. I mean, it's a sad ending, but it's like a logical ending. It's like kind of like everyone's dead, but like just for the second they're alive and everything's hunky dory. I'm like, I like that ending. So they got it. So she doesn't throw it in.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't.
Why? What's the point?
Well, the second scene is remember when she's in the water with Jack and they're searching for survivors. So when she hears them coming, she actually, instead of she yells, and instead of going, she actually yells, and they said, "Oh, we got a survivor." She's like, "Come to us," and she said, "Let me get rid of this dead weight first," and she throws Jack in the water.
Oh my God! Wow.
I made that one up.
Oh, God damn it! You got me. Wow.
That one I made up there.
I was like, I want to reach to the screen and kill her now. It's like, oh, that was rude as fuck. But, so really she didn't throw it in at the end? Is that like the new cut or whatever? Like, so she doesn't drop the diamond into the ocean then?
Well, that right there, the first thing I was telling you was true. But the second part was just it was
bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
So they stop her, and then what do they do with it? It goes in the museum or some shit?
I think no, she still throws it away, but they understood why she did it. And yeah, look it up on YouTube. You can find the clip on YouTube.
Okay, so it's like a little bit more lore to why she's doing. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm like, no, because the ending was just perfect. Like she throws it in and. Because where it's need to be and all that, and okay.
Yeah,
I was alternate. I'm like, so she doesn't throw it in at the end. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Here, I'll share my screen right here with you real quick. Here we go. Titanic alternate ending right here. See? Alternate ending. Yeah.
Okay.
It's only like 4 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Unseen. There's the see? Yeah. There's 2 right there. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I got to watch those 2. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same. I think it's the same thing. Yeah.
But there's like an explanation or whatever that goes with it. And I mean, she didn't really need to have an explanation. It was fine.
Yeah, but that was real right there. I'm not bullshitting about that, but the other one I was bullshitting about when she's like, "Yeah, get rid of this dead weight."
That irritated me. I'm like, "No, dude, that's rude as fuck."
I told that to someone the other day, and they're like, "That's just wrong." I said, "I know." They're like, "It's coming from
like,
you." I said,
"Childhood
"That's right."
ruined.
Yeah, it's like, "That's mean. You're not right." And I said, "That's right. I'm not right. I'd known that for a long time."
I have to admit that was kind of funny though. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Let me get rid of this dead weight.
Like if you thought she was a bitch before, you're really gonna hate her now. No, I'm sorry. Like, oh, he's already dead. It doesn't matter. Just F you. Go by. And I'm like, this is like some Leonidas and the Sparta boot kick. I'm like, are you for real? Come on, man. No. I don't believe it.
I get you on that. I ribbed you. I ribbed you on that one. I got you.
See, that one was okay. That was okay because I'm like, because now we can start talking about Titanic. I'd be like, yeah, and, that load of dirty barnacles you told me last time. I'd be like, horseradish, complete horseradish.
Yeah, complete horseradish.
Oh my God.
One last thing I want to ask you before we take it home. Have you heard any of the new Metallica?
I heard the one song they released a couple of months ago. It had like a Tool. I call it Tool spelling. It looked like something Tool would release.
Yeah. It's actually Latin. Let's see. It's actually no, not that one. Yeah, Lux Eternal. It's Latin. It's Latin. That song I like because it reminds me of old school Metallica.
It does. It does. I had to listen to it a few times, and I'm like, all right, now I hear it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That one right there. That they released that one there, and they also released the second one, Screaming Suicide.
They haven't done like the full. They haven't done a full album or anything. They're just doing like single releases. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the album comes out, I think, April 13th. I think.
Oh, okay. So yeah, pretty quick.
Yeah, the album's coming out in April, but they've only released like three songs from it, like Lux Eterna. That's the first one they released. Then they released Screaming Suicide, and then the latest one they just released, I think 6 days ago, is called If Darkness Had a Sun, and they both of those Screaming Suicide, If Darkness Had a Sun is more. They took new and old and just threw it together, and it's badass. I like it. It's Metallica, I like what they do, and I mean, especially with like when I first heard the drums coming in for Lux Eterna, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like Kill 'Em All. Like
you're all right. Now,
Motorhead.
That's this project I can get behind. All right.
Yeah, it reminded me of Motorhead. Get the bass going.
Yeah.
And then that freaking licks. I'm like, yeah. I'm like James Hetfield.
All right, now we went full circle. Now we're back at the beginning.
Yeah. That's like that. I walked around one day doing James Hetfield. Someone actually caught on and said, "Why you sound like James Hetfield?" And, I was like, yeah. Someone threw a whole thing together, and they took all his yeahs like that and threw it all together in front of all the albums. It was like, yeah.
And you're like, it's its own song now. They should have released that. It's its own song.
Yeah, it sounded like someone going into a diabetic coma. That's what it sounded like, man. It's just like someone had too much time on their hands, man.
My God.
Someone who had diabetes. I don't know if you ever seen that, where the one guy who was
do that with Eddie Vedder.
Oh, they did?
No, I said they should do that with Eddie Vedder because he's got that kind of that guttural kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be fun, like put them together, like put them side by side, and be like, who can better?
I had a friend back in the day when like Pearl Jam was out. Like we'd be walking down the street or something, and someone would be coming by singing something, a rap, some like new rap that we didn't really care too much about from an artist that. It didn't. The way they did it is like, oh God, it's so horrible. It's like karaoke, bad karaoke going down the street, traveling bad karaoke, and then all of a sudden my friend would sit there and go, freeze on the concrete.
I just better it, nice.
And then everyone stop and look. He sounded just like Eddie Vedder. He's trying to sing Even Flow.
I don't remember what episode of Family Guy, but it's Eddie Vedder when he goes to the doctor, and the doctor asks what's wrong with him, and he does it to the sound of Even Flow, and he's like, "Hey, doc, I got blah 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 going on," and I'm like, "Oh my God!"
I gotta look that up.
It's one of those things where you gotta like pause it and just laugh it out and be like, "All right, we're going."
I gotta look that up now.
Rewind it a couple times, and you listen to it, and you're like, "God." That sounds like him, and it's to the time of the song, and I'm like, they're geniuses because I wouldn't have think to do that. Like Eddie Vedder at the doctor. Okay, let's do that. Okay.
Seth MacFarlane, man, Seth MacFarlane. He's crazy about that stuff. He's great. And
a friend of mine keeps telling me, he's like, well, if you like you're getting back into Star Trek. He's like, go watch Orville. he's like, you got to watch the first season. You got to get through that, and then it gets better. And I went, all right, there's another show I got to watch. I'm like, I have to be in the mood to like sit down and watch shows, though. I don't care if they're dramas or comedies or whatever. I have to be in the mood to sit down and watch TV, because if not, I'm just gonna be like, all right, there's a lull. I can text somebody, and then I don't look back up, and I got to be in the mood. I got to have focus.
Focus. Yeah. Focus. I've been watching The Last of Us because I played the video game back in the day when it first came out.
Is it pretty good?
Mm-hmm. It is. One of the guys who's had his hands in the game for the story actually has his hands on for the show, which is great.
Oh, okay.
And
well, then so you're gonna get like legit source material and all that stuff. So
it follows closely. The third episode, I talked to a good friend of mine because he beat both games. I played the first one. I got so far into it and I got stuck, and then I'm like, I gave it back to him. Like, I can't do this, and then I never did get it back. He's like, you can borrow it. I'm like, nah, I'll get it later. Yeah, that was years ago. So, but I remember the premise of the story, and I watched people play it on Twitch or YouTube.
Right.
And
so you get the idea of what this is about.
Yeah, I got the idea of what it was about, and he said that on the third episode, he's like, that's made up. I don't know where they got that from. He didn't like the third episode, and I understand why he didn't like it, but then I was like, yeah, it's one of those where you can watch the first two.
It's filler.
Yeah, skip the third, go straight to the fourth, and the story doesn't miss a beat, which I love those type of shows. If you happen to miss one, and it's been good. It's been good. The last two episodes I watched of it, didn't watch this past Sundays. I got to catch up with it sometime this week.
Right. It's like you got to find time and you got to be in the mood and.
Mm-hmm. It's great. What I like about this, I think it is that, unlike like The Walking Dead with zombies, which is horror fiction, what this is about is actually a real thing, a real fungus that ants get. Mm-hmm. That actually, like, it gets in them, and then when they go back to the nest, they get kicked out because they don't want that ant to, in their colony.
To affect them and all that. Yeah.
Right. So they ban him, and then he goes along, and within a certain amount of time, that thing grows out of him, and it basically takes control of the body. And it's like a zombie. It's fungus. It happens. Right. And
that stuff. The fungus is legit. That shit happens.
Mm-hmm. It's for real. And it's like, wow. It's like, what if this happened to humans? And this is what happens. What the game's based off of. And it's some crazy shit. I didn't know this though. Bees actually get parasites. Did you know that? Hornets.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen those videos where they have this guy pulling the parasites out of a bee?
Oh, and like the big hornets and stuff? Yeah. That thing, and you're like, the hornet's this big and the parasite's like just as big as it is. I'm like, no. And like they lift up like his wing or something and they pull this big long worm out of it. I'm like, oh, okay, I got the heebie-jeebies now again. But yeah, I'm like, man, could you imagine like those stuck to you?
Yeah. Like this right here. Here, share my screen right here. This is this right here. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just pull these worms off of this poor thing.
Yeah. This is real, man. There's like, I think this one, this is the one. He pulls two of them out of this bee, this hornet. It's a Japanese hornet, and it's right there in the.
And the thing is, those things will take over, and they'll suck that poor thing dry. And I mean, as much as I really don't like.
That's
hornets.
Nuts.
I mean, it's as big as the hornet. Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. There's another one right there. He's in so much pain, man. Are you getting grossed out?
I mean, I've seen this one before, but every
Yeah.
time I watch it, I'm like, oh,
Ugh.
that's
And I know, look how fat that thing is. It's like plop.
ugh,
I know.
gross.
It's like I didn't even know that. And then the Hornets, look, he's all calm now. Yeah. Yeah, and he
Ugh.
feeds it to his pet frog. Yeah, the Hornet's all like, oh, yeah, you saved
All right,
me.
I'm good. Let me go.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm parasite free. Let me go. Let me do my
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, let me go. Let me go. It's
But yeah,
crazy.
there's a lot of videos out there like that with but like you said, with the ants, with the fungus, and then there was something else I watched. I don't remember what insect it was, but yeah, it was like a disease or a parasite or something, and it took it over, and it changed its body composition. I was like, oh god, nature's scary.
Nature is scary, man. It's like on Family Guy. Oh, nature. Do you see that?
Damn, nature, you scary.
Damn, nature, you
The cheetah
scary.
goes to eats the gazelle or whatever. He's like, damn, nature, you scary.
I love that. I love that. That's my favorite. One of my favorite Family Guy things there.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to go to bed after this now. Ugh.
Yeah. I didn't mean to give you nightmares.
Nah, it's fine. I don't usually sleep anyway, so haha, joke's on you.
I tried. I did. I do want to thank you for coming back on, man. I love having these conversations with you because it goes one way and it just goes another, and it's like,
Oh yeah, because
yeah,
then I'll be
I
like,
love it.
oh yeah, did you hear about this? And you'll be like, oh yeah, and then we'll talk about that, and we'll go out. Yeah, it's literally like a Family Guy episode. We're like, what's the point of this? There's not a point. That's the beauty of it.
Yes.
Just shooting shit.
Hey, so you're not listening or watching the Everett Lee Show. This is the ADHD podcast.
Very. Oh my, and then it's probably why I like coming on here because I'm like, I don't have to mask and I don't have to filter myself, and I can just kind of go off on a tangent. Sweet.
Definitely. One time, Damien Saint was supposed to come on, and he
I
wanted.
love that guy. I
Doesn't.
fucking love him.
Shout out to Damien. Hey,
I
we got to
miss you, buddy.
reschedule.
Definitely. Because I was in. Oh, I think I was in Branson. That the one of the first times you had him on, and I was like, "Oh, my guy's on there, yeah!" So that was a good time.
Yeah, he was supposed to.
Entertaining.
He hit me up one day. This was a few years ago. He hit me up one day and he said, "I want to come on the podcast, and this is what I want to talk about." And we talked about it before, and he told me it was about the thing with like Alexa Bliss with the the mystic thing, and like it's
Yeah.
like comparison to Undertaker and like Papa Shango and all that stuff, and how people now are flipping out about it, but they didn't back then because it was like
It's like it's along the
yeah.
same lines. I mean, we just have nice, cool lighting now and special effects. But I mean, we did what we could in the '80s, man.
I know, and I understood the point that he was trying to say. I'm like, all right, yeah. I was like, you want to come on? You want to talk about that? You're more welcome to. And he never did. And
He's got so many irons in the fire. He's with so many different organizations and whatnot. And I'm like, I wish I had time to do that. But I'm like, once I hit 40, I just kind of went, I need to start taking a step back. I mean, I might do some things here and there, but I was kind of going at it full blast, and I went, all right, I need to take a break. But
yeah, it's my daughter just turned 6, and she's I come home from work, and it's daddy, daddy, daddy. So it's like all my time now is focusing a lot on her now, and
right,
it's becoming one of those things where I get up, I go to work. Before I leave work, I give her a hug and kiss, tell her have a good day at school. Wife goes off, does her thing. I go off, work whatever, 8-10 hours, come back home, ask, how's your day? Give them a hug and a kiss, and then do something, spend time, and
right.
it's like that's basically what it is now, and it's starting to more and more become. And even when the weekends have off, spend more time with her, teaching her how to play soccer, teach her how to do arm bars with her doing kickboxing and wrestling now.
Nice.
Yeah, so doing that stuff, being a father, being more of a father now. And at first, it's taken me a long time because I'm like, I'm not used to this, man. What the hell is this? Now It's like I'm falling more into it now. And then, of course, yeah, Callie was bad. What'd you do? What'd you do? Oh, okay. All right, well, here's your punishment. No tablet, no cartoons, no playing with your friends. And then, of course, they come knocking on the door, beating on the door, and they're wanting to play. Now she can't play. And, of course, 20 questions. Why? She was bad. What'd she do? She didn't listen. Why? She didn't listen. She
you ask her? I don't know.
Why? It's like, why? Why? One of them one time came over. Can Callie play? No. Why? She was bad. What'd she do? She was bad today in school. Well, I think she should come out and play. I'm like, well, I think you need to go take your ass back cross street.
Right.
I became that man, get off my lawn. I was that guy for a minute there. I was that man. I ain't gonna have a 7-year-old tell me, well, I think she should come out. I'm like, well, you need to get on your bike and get your ass home, because you don't tell me what my daughter can and can't do.
You still think Santa Claus is real? Shut the hell up.
Funny story. You just reminded me something. And he
God.
is, damn it. No, she
Core
thinks,
memory unlocked.
when she was about 3 years old, we were watching the Santa Claus, the second one, and where they had all the Tooth Fairy, the Sandman and stuff. She seen the Tooth Fairy. She said, Daddy, who's that? I said, that's Tooth Fairy. That's not a fairy. Yeah, that's the Tooth Fairy. What's Tooth Fairy, Daddy? I said, the Tooth Fairy, when you lose your teeth, you put them underneath your bed, and when you go to bed at night, Tooth Fairy comes and takes your teeth and gives you money. She looked at me and she said, I don't like him. Tooth Fairy not coming in my room. Like Mr. T attitude. And she said, I'm not losing no teeth.
Yeah. See how well that works.
Yeah, she was mad, man. She's like Tooth Fairy not coming in my room. I don't like him. Not losing no teeth.
Traps like Home Alone. You go to walk in and you think the little Matchbox cars.
Oh, damn.
Take that, Tooth Fairy.
Take that, Tooth Fairy. But this has been great. It has definitely been great.
We talk about everything here.
Yeah, we talk about everything, man. This is great. I had one person one time on, out of all the 270 episodes I've done, they say, yeah, this is good therapy for me, just coming on, just talking. I'm like,
sometimes you just gotta let it out.
Let it out, man. I give you a platform, you do what you want with it. I love it. I definitely love it. And yeah, there for a while. This is a good break in between me doing podcasts about talking about all 9 Fast and Furious movies. I'm doing a podcast for each Fast and Furious movie. A lot of people are like, what are you doing? And then I'm like, this is for people who love this. And then also I'm pissing off people who don't like this, just to piss them off. I'm like, I talk about it, man. I'm putting these movies over like they're the greatest thing. I mean, I do like a lot of stuff here and there in the movies because it's silly, over the top stuff, which I look forward to. I mean, come on.
It's like 18.
Yeah, in the 80s, Rambo, Willis, Die Hard.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. You're expecting over the top stuff, same thing, but with cars. So it's like, I know some people are like, yeah, man, this is great, talking about this movie, talking about this one, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what are you doing? It's like, I'm just putting content out there.
Right. It's like, if you like it, if not, I'll see you in the next one.
Exactly. I've already done the first 3, so after this one, I'll be putting the 4th one out. So,
Good luck.
talking about Fast 4, and I've been watching them too to refresh my memories again. I got the
Right,
box
so you
set of
like
them.
make little notes. You're like, okay, this happened, and we got to talk about this. And
Yeah, yeah. I got the box set of them, so I've been sitting there, watching it on my Blu-ray player with my 5.1 surround. I'm cranking it. My wife's like, "Turn that down!" All of a sudden, it's like, what the hell, It's a
so, are
crank.
you going to talk about the one spin-off, the Hobbs and Shaw or one, or?
I'm debating or not to talk about it, but then I said to myself, I should do that just for the hell of it.
Well, I mean, like after you do those, and then be like, "Here's your bonus episode. You didn't think we are going to talk about the spin-off? Here it is."
yeah, which I have and I liked, and I was like, they were hyping up, Roman Reigns acting debut. Dude was like an extra. I gotta vent. Dude was like an extra. He sat in the background, said 2 lines, and he said one line, and his second. I remember his second line. Ooh, ah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. They're like, yeah, starred, Hobbs and Shaw with The Rock and Roman Reigns. It's like, dude, you're like a freaking extra who had 2 lines in the movie, and you did 2 wrestling moves. That's it.
Right. It's like, we could have cut that out, and it wouldn't have changed the story any.
I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, what the hell, man? Oh well. But anything else you want to add? Throw out there right before we close it and take it home.
Well, I had I was going to say about the show, because I got sidetracked. But yeah, so on the next show that we have, we'll be collecting donations for someone's Bob's fight against stage 4 bone cancer. And then they're having locally a benefit on March 25th. So yeah, that's we with a lot of SCW stuff. We try to have a charity or a fundraiser for a show or whatever. We'll collect money for local people and all that. So, but that was the one for this month. So
nice.
Try to keep the money in the right people's hands, I guess. Right.
Exactly. Where can people find you on social media?
So my Facebook page is The Amazing Amazon Natasha Crane, and I think I still have my old picture up. And then on Instagram, it's AMZG. Hold on, I gotta look it up. I don't message myself, man. It is. It's AMZG_Amazon. And you can see my picture there, and it says Natasha Crane, the official Instagram of the blah blah blah, and my Facebook page is on there too. So yeah, just I'm not the best at checking my messages. I'll just tell you that right now. But I try to remember at least a couple times a week to check messages. So, and then I have YouTube. It's if you just look up Natasha Crane, and with a very scary picture of me, so. But yeah, I still haven't uploaded my my title match from last January, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new ones up from when I had the title. So yeah, and also the SCW Southland Championship Wrestling YouTube page. I'm really trying to plug that because we need more subscribers and whatnot, and they will upload matches from shows and whatnot. So
nice. Excellent. Thank you so much for coming back on, Natasha. It's been great, as always. Great conversation. And that's it for the Everett Lee Show. I want to thank everyone for downloading this audio portion of this podcast and viewing the video portion of this podcast on YouTube. And that's it. Signing off, Everett Lee. Have a great night and a great week.
Thanks for watching.
And we'll see
Thanks
you
for
again.
listening to us ramble.
Yes. And we'll see you again next time for another new episode of The Everett Lee Show. Peace.
Follow The Everett Lee Show on the following social media platforms: Facebook, The Everett Lee Show; Twitter, @The Everett _Lee; Instagram, Everett Lee. Subscribe, follow The Everett Lee Show on the following platforms: Anchor.fm/Everett Lee Show, YouTube, Everett Lee, and Johners Podcast Network, WrestlingWithJohners.com.